What's your favorite song?
Bobby, I don't know.
You are tuned into today's Fave with Dubious.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to today's Fave with DJ Dubious.
Funky. Yeah.
Where today's Fave. Where today's Fave.
Oh yeah.
Where today's Fave may not be your fave tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hey yo, welcome back to today's Fave with your host Dubious. I hope everyone had a good week, and I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned into my last show. I want to say thank you for the comments. Looking forward to more. Hope you guys will enjoy this one. I think this is going to be a really a special one today. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, please subscribe and support me by liking the video and tell your friends. And let's try to build a community of music lovers around here. So it'll really help me out if you do that. I really do appreciate it. Before we get into it, I just want to just say that there are some songs that, like last week, Prince, we did today's Fave with him. And that song right there is one of those songs that, it makes me want to move, This particular song here that we're going to get into, this one actually, made me pause, made me think. This one here comes from a producer that I'm a big fan of, legendary producer named Jay Dilla. And for those of you who may not heard of him, whoever listens to hip hop, neo soul music, you've heard of him before. You may not know his name, but I guarantee you heard some of Jay Dilla's beats or music. Like I say, a producer, he was behind, the big artist. And I remember, when I first, discovered Jay Dilla, it was back in 2008. And the way I discovered him was, I would watch, I'm sure some of you heard of Cartoon Network. And in the evenings, I don't know if they still do it now, but in the evenings, they would do a segment called Adult Swim. And basically what they would do they would play, songs that, or not songs, but cartoons pretty much made for adults. Some of that stuff was pretty funny stuff. But really for me, I really loved watching Cartoon Network's Adult Swim, because what they would do in between songs, they would play these like hip hop beats. Most of them were jazzy type stuff. A lot of it was beats that I've never heard of before. And, that's what really got me, because I was discovering, new artists that way. And I know this one particular night, I'm watching Adult Swim. And, I think I remember I was getting up or I was walking. And all of a sudden I heard this beat just come on the TV. And like it was these dudes singing, and it was over these big fat drums, and I just remember, I stopped in my tracks and I went, to the TV, because, the way I would, get these beats, from Adult Swim was, basically what Adult Swim beat or the bumps, what they would do, they would play these beats, and then they would have this visual, on screen, and basically it wouldn't be nothing moving or anything. It's just a visual, then the beat playing in the background. Excuse me. And I remember, I'm looking at this, I'm I went back to the TV, look at the visual, and I remember this visual is still in my head today. It's still in my head. I remember I was looking at it, and what it was this intersection, and at the right turn lane where you turn right, it was an intersection, and it had at the right turn it had an owl, you know, and it had an owl painted there in the right turn lane, and it had the right turn, painted there too. And I remember I was just sitting there, studying the visual, and when the visual was done, I went straight to the internet. I went to the internet, and I remember I typed in the search. I typed in intersection, owls only, for the right turn, and I remember typing in, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and the search came back, and it was Jay Dilla, and the name of that song on that particular bump is called "Welcome to the Show," and that's actually on this album. And by the way, did I say that today's fave is going to be "Don't Cry" by Jay Dilla, and that's from his 2006 Donut album. But anyway, that came up, and I downloaded it right away to add it to my collection, and from there it's like, okay, Jay Dilla, and I just went and searched for anything I could find Jay Dilla. I found a bunch of songs from Jay Dilla, albums from Jay Dilla, and I'm just hoarding, on the internet, just hoarding the music, hoarding, getting the stuff so I can add it to my collection, and as I'm doing that, I go ahead and start doing, research on him. Like, who is this cat, Jay Dilla? How come I never heard of him? And come to find out, I did hear him. I've heard him before. I was shocked and amazed to find out that he produced a lot of my favorite artists. And, that, took me back. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I didn't know. The people he produced people like Busta Rhymes. I've was a Busta Rhymes fan, big Busta Rhymes fan at that time. I remember, or he also produced a Tribe Called Quest. He produced Common. He produced Farside. He produced Erykah Badu, and he produced D'Angelo. He produced Janet Jackson. He produced Lucy Pearl, and one of my favorite rappers, he produced MF Doom, and the list just goes on and on. So I was shocked to find that I've been listening to this cat already, and this was the first time I knew his name, and I was, like I said, that blew me back. So anyway, I went ahead and did more research real quick, because it's like finding, like I told you, finding a new song for me is like finding a new best friend. This is a producer, he produced a lot of songs that I loved. So now that I found this producer, it's like, oh man, he's the best. He's my new best friend now, So I started doing some research on him, and like I said, this was 2008. And when I was researching him, and I found out that he had passed away in 2006 from a rare blood disease, and he was only 32 years old, and that shocked me. And I remember I was shocked, and I was sad at the same time, because I felt like, I'm behind. Look at all this, music that I'm collecting. I feel like I'm playing catch up, with him. And, that's when I was like, oh man, this guy is something else. So anyway, so the album that we're talking about here is Jay Dee Donuts. This is the album here. Get it in the shot. Jay Dee Donuts. This is a very nice album. It's a double album. It has two albums in here. I think there's 33 tracks on this particular album. And the song we're going to do tonight is going to be Don't Cry. It's just right there in the middle, you know. And basically, whenever Jay Dilla was producing this particular album, he was practically on his deathbed. He was in the hospital when he made this album, and it was released on his birthday, and that was I think February 7th, 2006, and they released it on his birthday, and 3 days later he passed away. You know, so this particular album is a pretty deep album. Basically, it's an album that's heavy, filled with loops and samples. Not rapping at all. I think he was just producing this to pretty much say his goodbye. You know, don't cry. And I really truly believe he got the message across, you know, because this guy here is pretty much, you know, saying his goodbyes, and he's saying his goodbyes to his family, I'm sure, his mom, to the music world, saying goodbye to me, don't cry. You know, he put the work in, you know, and I think he really got the message across with this album. When I say that, you know, this is an album of loops, what I mean by that is that that term loop, I would say in the industry, especially hip hop, you know, a producer would find a particular sample that they will want to use whenever they going to create a new song. They would actually take a sample of a song. You know, it could be a 2-bar loop, 4-bar, 8-bar loop. You know, and they'll take that little piece and they'll just, you know, make a loop out of that small piece, you know, that sample. And basically, you know, depending on how they want to use that loop, they can either, you know, use that loop, you know, manipulate it in a certain way to make it sound a little bit different but familiar, or they can use that same sample or loop and create something totally different, you know, and it'd be hard. Sometimes it's hard to even know that they even use a loop or a sample from an original song. You know, they just, you know, a good producer knows how to, you know, pretty much make the beat their own, you know, create something new just from that sample. My son, I was telling him today, you know, about the song that I was gonna, you know, talk about, and he knows about Jay Dilla, and he knew, you know, it was from the Donut album, and he told me, he was like, well, you know, I'm not sure why he called it Donuts. And I said, well, if you know, look at a donut, it's a loop. So this is basically Jay Dilla's, you know, last loop album, you know, Donuts. You know, that's why I believe it was called Donuts. And like I say, today's fave is going to be, you know, Don't Cry from Jay Dilla from his Donut album. And we were just talking about samples a second ago, and we're going to take a listen first, and once you know, we're done with the listening phase of this portion, we'll talk about the sample. But without further ado, let's take a listen to Jay Dilla's Don't Cry.
Don't cry.
Now I'll show you how my voice would have made an unbelievable baby girl. Oh, okay, Joy.
Stand to see
cry no baby now. Baby. I don't
All right. That was Don't Cry by Jay Dilla, today's fave. Like I say, when I hear that, knowing the situation that he was in, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I can feel it. I can really feel that. I hope you can feel it too. Like I said, I feel like, he was just, saying it's okay, don't cry, it is what it is, and I think he was prepared, and this was maybe his way of coping with what was, to come, and this was his message, to everyone, his family, friends, fans, it's a sad situation, but, don't cry, let's celebrate. But anyway, that sample in there, the Don't Cry, that's actually from a group called the Escorts. And when I was doing my research, and I remember, I went ahead and, of course, I have to find the original song. You know what I'm saying? I think the song is called I Can't Stand to See You Cry. And when I saw the, and that's an excellent listen too, because what I'll do, I'll leave a link to that song in the description so you can check that one out. And anyway, I remember when I saw the album cover, where that song came from the Escorts, and I saw that on the cover it was a bunch of brothers, dudes, behind the bars, in jail, looked like. And, they're all, it was quite a few of them. And one had a guitar, it was kind of poking out the bars. And there was two guys, below them, I don't know, shaking their hands or something. And there was a bunch of guys behind the bars. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that's an interesting album cover. And come to find out that those guys were actually in prison. They were in prison. They were in prison when they created that song. And that blew me away, because it was like, oh, snap. No wonder that song sounds so soulful, so good. You can feel the song, I Can't Stand to See You Cry, So the little backstory on that one. There was a producer by the name of George Kerr. And he ended up producing that band from behind bars. And he ended up bringing them instruments, and they recorded that track, from their cell, So it's like, wow, bro. So when, you hear him saying, singing Don't Cry, it makes me think about, who was he singing to? His mom, his family, friends, it was just nuts, just to find out that little tidbit just about that sample, you know what I'm saying? So when I hear that song, it's not, it's not a love song. I mean, it is a love song, but it's not a love song, but it's just it's from one man who's singing from behind a cell, then it reaches another man, and he uses it to send out a message, to everyone he loves, don't cry over me, you know what I mean? So it's it's good, you know what I'm saying? This is why I love music. This is why I love music, because not only you find good music, that makes you want to dance and move and groove sometimes, and then you find stuff like this that makes you pause, you know what I'm saying? Then you understand why why the song sounds and feels this way, you know what I'm saying? So this one was is a good one for me, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's today's fave for me, Jay Dilla, Don't Cry. And like I said, that's off the Donut album. Make sure you take a listen, you know what I'm saying? You may not like all of it, but listen to it, and if you like a song on there, find out where the sample came from, and I can almost guarantee you'll like the original song. I find songs all the time, and when I listen to the original, it's like, oh, this is better than a rap song or better than the beat, you know what I'm saying? But like I say, I use that, to also, help me, find new music, find the next favorite song, So anyway, before we get out of here, I want to play a message from my my sponsor, Nom Noms Food Inc. And this is going to be a, hopefully you guys will enjoy this today's product for them. And I will be back to you after these messages.
Hey kids! Nom Noms Food Inc. proudly presents its new breakfast cereal, Dandy Flakes. Can you guess where the flakes come from? Packed with minerals E, K and S. Some flakes are hard, some flakes are soft. It depends on the humidity. Perfect with room temperature chupacabra milks. There is a surprise with every bite. Just like life, it's bittersweet and sometimes salty. Dandy Flakes. Taste the soft crunch. Nom Noms Food Inc., where everything is protein.
Okay, can you guess where the flakes came from? Dandy Flakes. Some flakes are hard, some flakes are soft. I guess it depends on the humidity. So I heard it goes with the chupacabra room temperature milk. So I will not be trying that at all. So anyway, it's the soft crunch that you will never forget. Dandy Flakes. Okay, back to the show. Today's fave was Jay Dilla's Don't Cry. I like to say thanks to Jay Dilla. Thank you for that. Thank you for that album. Thank you for everything you do. Like I say, I'm a big fan of Jay Dilla. And it made me, like I said, he made me look more at producers than the artists. Like I say, artists are talented. They're talented enough. But sometimes it takes a very talented producer to bring out the best in those artists. And I think that's Dilla was one of those producers. So that one spoke to me, and I hope it did the same to you. So next week, I think I have an idea what I want to do. Like I say, my songs, they change daily, my favorite songs, so today I have a song that I want to do next week, but, as I keep listening to music, like I say, that something else may pop up, but we'll see. But just make sure you tune in to me next week. Don't forget to like and share this video. Subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. But just remember, this is dubious with today's fave, because your fave today may not be your fave tomorrow. Catch you next week. I'm out.
Welcome to Ace Rodney, Talks for the Superstars. Tonight, great guest, the incredible.
Dilla.